Ron DeSantis in the news for a very weird reason. We talked about it yesterday because, to be honest, I just kind of needed a break from the darkness of the news these past few weeks. And it's a fun, silly story about whether he has secret lifts in his boots. And there's a follow-up, believe it or not, to this segment that we did. It wasn't our original segment. It was all over. Trump put it out there. And then Politico did a big write-up, hiring a fashion writer to actually do the article. And then he brought in 3 boot experts from across the United States to analyze DeSantis's boots. And why do they? If you look at the boots, here's my hand, they kind of turn up at the end, like where the toe is, suggesting that there's no toe in there. Because why? Because his foot is actually like this inside the boot, like upward, the way a woman's heel would be on a pump. And he's doing this because he's reportedly shorter than the 5'11" he claims, and he wants to look 5'11". So in addition to the 2-inch heel he has on the actual boot, you can see from the outside, there's a secret lift from the inside. I'll give you, just in case you weren't watching, a flavor of how this has been going down in the media. Will Cain, who we love over from Fox News, he did a bit on DeSantis's boots, and he's a DeSantis fan, but here's what he said on it in SOT 25.
And this one is about a 1 1/4 inch heel. Ron DeSantis' external heel looks a little bit bigger than this heel. That's fine. You want a little bit higher external heel? That's fine. The question is he got a lift inside designed to give him another 2 inches? So that, again, if you're listening instead of watching, I'm drawing a line, a diagonal line from where the heel of the boot meets the instep up towards the back of the heel, right? To lift you up another couple of inches. Your big toe knuckle, it should hit about right here. DeSantis's looks like it's hitting about back here. Way back about the middle of the boot. Not the right place for a knuckle unless you were lifting it up into an extreme diagonal. Ron DeSantis's toes aren't going up toward the front of his boot. And they're not because he's lifting it up at an extreme diagonal from an internal lift. Verdict, yes, Ron DeSantis is wearing lifts.
Okay, so that's his take on it. I'll show you the boots. We'll show you the video where he's walking a little strange, V7, where he's like walking across the stage. It doesn't look like a normal walk, Adam. I'm going to be honest. I don't know men who walk like this. I like Ron DeSantis, but it's a weird, can we see this? Yeah, look, it's just sort of an odd little, I'm not sure what's happening there. It does look a little bit like a woman who's learning how to walk on heels. I'm not going to lie, like the governor, would vote for him, but something going on there. And then Josh Holmes of the Ruthless podcast was here yesterday with Tom Bevan of Real Clear Politics. And Josh Holmes, who's a political consultant, his day job is to like advise people on how to get elected, Republicans. And here's, because DeSantis originally said something like, this is a ridiculous controversy. This paper, Politico, or whoever's writing about this isn't worth anything other than like birdcage liner. It was a little bit more articulate than that in their defense. And Josh Holmes came on the program yesterday and had some advice for the governor on how to handle this.
And one of the reasons I've been sort of bearish on where DeSantis's campaign is with an awful lot of this stuff is that they have some sensitivity to doing that back, certainly to Donald Trump. And when you have one side that is willing to deploy every tactic in the book and get the national conversation having about whether he's wearing lifts, and you're not willing to say, like, I'm going to take my lift and shove it up your fat ass, like it's a one-sided discussion. Like, you can never get out of it. Come out on the next debate stage on stilts or something. You know, I mean, just make the whole thing a clown show out of it. I'm sure people would love that.
Well, guess what happened? It wasn't that quote exactly, but DeSantis went on Newsmax, I think with our pal Eric Bolling, and look what he said last night.
This is no time for foot fetishes. We've got serious problems as a country. You know, if Donald Trump can summon the balls to show up to the debate, I'll wear a boot on my head. This is a time for substance. This is a time for us to debate the issues that matter to the American people.
He said balls. He's getting serious. So what do you make of Bootgate and whether it's, why are we talking about it? Why are so many people interested in it?
Well, first off, full disclosure, I'm wearing Spanx and a push-up bra right now.
You're my man.
So I just don't want to get, fragged online.
Too judgy.
Okay. It definitely seems like he's got something in there. Forget about what's in the boot. choosing to wear cowboy boots in general is 99% short guys trying to get a couple of extra inches just in their shoe. Because if you just wear flat dress shoes, whatever, you don't get as much. You know, Sylvester Stallone is a short guy. He's always wearing boots everywhere. Boots are uncomfortable. They're not great for walking around. And the only reason, if you did some sort of boot survey, you'd find that 86% of boot wearing was done by guys under 6 foot, and almost zero was done by guys over 6
Oh, that's
foot.
so interesting. I did not know that. I mean, you're accepting, I assume, actual cowboys and people who work on ranches and with horses, where it's what you must wear.
Yes, I'm going to back out actual cowboys and certain members of gay parades. The rest of us would wear. I'm
short.
6'2", and I don't wear cowboy boots. Cowboy boots are uncomfortable to walk around in.
They are uncomfortable.
You only do it if you needed the height. Like I did radio many years ago with Danny Bonaducci from the Partridge Family. He was a short guy. He wore cowboy boots every day. I wore tennis shoes every day. But if I were the short guy, I'd probably wear cowboy boots. And if he was the tall guy, he'd be wearing tennis shoes. So just the presence of cowboy boots suggests a little Napoleon situation going on there.
Got it.
Well, I didn't know anything about the boot lift controversy. I was just watching DeSantis wearing cowboy boots in a suit. And I didn't know anything about the lifts. I just thought, well, that's an odd choice, cowboy boots in a suit, but maybe he's in Wyoming talking to ranchers or something like that. He's not, he's from, he's in Florida, obviously. Florida isn't Houston. It's not Wyoming. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
where did the cowboy boots come from in the first place? You choose to wear cowboy boots when you have issues about your height. Now, if you want to add a second story to your cowboy boots, well, that's maybe what he did. But the fact that he even chooses to wear cowboy boots suggests to me that height is an issue for him. That being said, who cares? I would much rather have a 5'5" Joe Biden who knew what the fuck he was doing than a 6'9" Joe Biden who acts how he acts today.
Exactly. Ron DeSantis at worst, and not that it's bad to be shorter, but at worst is 5'9", and he should be like, hello, I served in the Navy JAG Corps. Suck it. 5'9", I went over to Iraq. I realized he wasn't on the front lines, but obviously he's a guy with courage who served his country on it. Who gives a shit how tall he is? But he cares if this is true. And I guess it just is a window into a certain level of vanity or insecurity, which is probably present in most of our politicians. You're going to think Barack Obama was an incredibly vain and insecure? I don't believe it. Trump too, he's always got like the hair has to be just right. He's going to a tanning bed for God's sake. I don't know. I think it's a common trait amongst our politicians, in particular the presidential candidates.
No, I agree. And I think, well, first off, DeSantis isn't wrong when they do those surveys of like Fortune 500 CEOs, 95% of them are over 6 foot tall. So there is an actual sort of baked in bias. If you asked a kid and showed him a picture of a tall person and a short person, you said, who would you like running this country? 95% of them would pick the tall person. So there is some math to it, but I think what we're all responding to is him lying about it. That's the thing that we're responding to, not the trying to get an extra inch and 5/8. It's more like, are you trying to fool us and are you trying to deceive us? Because we're just coming off a guy, certainly in Biden, Hillary Clinton, and a lot of people think this way about Trump, where they were trying to deceive us for the last X amount of years.
I wonder if, I'm sure somebody has asked Trump whether he goes in the tanning bed, regularly. He clearly does. But I wonder if somebody's asked him. Maybe we can Google it. I will tell you, I sat across from Trump in 2010 and asked him directly, is that a comb over? Is your hair a comb over? Is it a bald spot? And he's like, no, it's all real. And he offered for me to feel his hair and mess it up and stick my hands inside the hair, which I did. We'll lay the tape in later. I did. I stuck my hand right up in there, Adam, and it was all real, and it was not a comb over. It was legit. Ron DeSantis had an opportunity to say, F this bootgate thing. I'm taking off my boot right now. Look inside my boot. Nothing in there. No lift. Nothing but a regular soled bottom. But I think what we're learning here is that men do with their height what women do with their weight or their age, right? Falsely play with the numbers to make themselves feel or sound better.
Well, I would also say, Megyn, with all due respect, you don't have to ask a guy in Donald Trump who plays 70 rounds of golf a day in Florida if he goes to a tanning salon.
But he maintains it year round, Adam, even in New York, where it is gray for 9 months of the year.
Okay. Well, true.
Look,
it's got to be spray on at this point, is what.
Yes, it could be spray on. I've done the spray on. The spray on does look a little orange. Freelance work is booming. So many people are taking the leap and starting their own business. But how do you maximize your earnings, minimize your taxes, and make sure you are legally compliant? It can be overwhelming, confusing, and it takes time away from your own billable hours. That's where the experts at Collective.com come in. Now, Collective was built specifically for businesses of one that are making over $60,000 in profit a year. Collective handles all of your back office work so you can focus on your passion and not your paperwork. And they can tell you how they can backdate your S-Corp and save you thousands on taxes this year. They handle business formation and compliance paperwork, taxes, bookkeeping, accounting, and even payroll. Check out collective.com/Megyn to potentially save thousands of dollars on your taxes. To sweeten the deal, they will also throw in an extra $100 off when you use my link. That's collective.com/Megyn to get started with your personal team of self-employed tax experts. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.